At the party, she leaned in to kiss me, but something in her smile froze me. The room's laughter faded as her eyes darted toward someone behind me. A warning I couldn't ignore that I stepped back, whispered the truth she'd never forget, and watched the shock ripple through the room. The party hummed with familiar warmth, the clink of glasses, and the ease of old friends pretending nothing ever changes. My wife leaned in, her smile bright, a kiss meant to dissolve the evening into laughter. Yet something in that smile relaxed into ice the moment our lips brushed, an almost ceremonial freeze. The air between us thickened, and I felt the room tilt as if gravity itself hesitated to hold us upright. Then her eyes shifted, not toward me, but toward someone behind me, a silent signal that made the blood in my veins run cold. There's a twist in the story that no one knows about. So stay in the story. The murmur rose in the crowd, not of surprise, but of an unspoken acknowledgement. The joke died mid-syllable, replaced by a heavier, more intentional silence. I turned slowly, heart knocking like a stubborn drumbeat, and caught his gaze, a figure I hadn't expected to share the night with. He returned the glance with a half-smile that wasn't kind nor cruel, just accurate in its honesty. The theater we'd been playing had a new director. My wife's breath hitched, a tremor crossing her features as she searched for a lifeline in the widening circle of witnesses. In that instant, a memory jolted awake, the countless little contracts we'd signed with each other to pretend it was all ordinary. The looks exchanged in crowded rooms, the soft excuses whispered at the edge of dawn, the careful choreography of appearances. The kiss felt like a punctuation mark in a sentence I hadn't fully read. Behind me, the room continued, blissfully unaware, while I measured the distance between us, between the truth and the pleasant lie we'd chosen to inhabit. The more she retrieved toward the shadowed corner of the room, the more I understood what had been hidden in plain sight. She didn't move toward me. Not really, not anymore. Instead, she pivoted, presenting a mask of rueful humor that didn't touch the truth she'd just revealed. The person behind me, someone our circle trusted, someone we'd confided in with smiles and courtesy, sat in the subtleties of her gaze. The whisper of recognition among the guests felt like wind through a hollowed-out tree. I felt the old impulse rise, to deny, to pretend, to smooth things over. But the room wasn't listening to excuses. It was listening for the tremor of a lie about to crack. I whispered something to her, a line chosen like a blade's edge, almost a memory, almost a dare. It wasn't a shout, not yet. It was a brittle confession that could fracture the room or remake it. I told her that truths have a way of arriving late, but arriving hard, that if we wanted to preserve a shred of what we'd built, we needed to confront the implications rather than pretend the stagehands hadn't changed the scene. Her eyes widened, not with fear, but with a dawning comprehension of the consequence we'd both avoided. The conversation that followed moved in the margins, the soft, careful conversations that betray more than loud arguments ever could. People pretended not to listen, yet every inch of the room absorbed our choices. I watched the way her fingers found the necklace at her throat, the way he shifted in his chair as if the truth were a weight he'd been carrying for years. The kiss, once a promise of intimacy, suddenly felt like a barrier, an invisible glass wall between two versions of us, each insisting their own reality was the only acceptable one. We drifted toward the periphery of the party, away from the chorus of congratulatory claps and the bright catastrophe of laughter. The air tasted metallic, like the silence after a storm. I asked for nothing loud, only honesty, an admission of what the night had exposed and what we were willing to fix or abandon. She spoke softly, not apologizing, but naming the ache we'd ignored, a distance grown too comfortable, a trust worn thin by polite routines. The challenge wasn't who was right. It was whether we could relearn to be vulnerable together. In the quiet that followed, the night expanded, offering two paths that diverged with a crisp snick of a scissor blade. We could pretend, smooth the creases, and pretend further until the truth became a rumor we barely remembered. Or we could acknowledge the rupture, inspect it, and decide whether a fragile bridge could be rebuilt with stronger materials. I didn't rush. I gave the moment the gravity it deserved, allowing the decision to form in the space between our questions and her guarded smile. The door to possibility opened a crack, just enough to see a different horizon. Weeks turned the echo of that kiss into a narrative we both lived inside, choosing honesty over comfort, even when it burned. We revisited the agreements we'd carried like fragile relics, recalibrating boundaries, expectations, and the vow to protect what remained. Not the illusion, but the quiet, stubborn truth of us. He and she drifted to the margins of our story, safer perhaps, but no longer central. The room's laughter returned, but it sounded different now, as if it recognized the power of a truth, spoken aloud, and the courage it took to keep speaking. Today, the party seems distant, a memory folded into the larger arc of a life renegotiated. The kiss that froze the moment became the hinge upon which we rebuilt. A partnership measured not by appearances, but by accountability, transparency, and the willingness to walk through discomfort towards something sturdier. I still feel the sting of the memory, the gravity of the truth, but I also feel a steadier, humbler hope. The room may forget, but we won't, and that choice could be the quiet revolution our future needs. Magnifying glass tilted right, old key.